Aurora is fast becoming one of those cities that so many of you are talking about and want to know more about. And so in this video right here, what we're going to talk about is 10 things that you must know in regards to Aurora, Colorado.
All right, let's go.
What is up and welcome back. We are your Colorado real estate family, Pete and Chelsea Sweeney.
And I know I look a little different today. I am one of those people who, real quick, I got to get off on my little tangent, but I have naturally curly hair. I'm trying to embrace it. If you're watching right now and you are a curly haired girl out there or even guy, tell me how to take care of this mop because I'm working on trying to embrace the natural. But today we're going to be covering a very important topic, and that is Aurora, Colorado, where so many of you are calling us, asking about it. We've been navigating around Aurora more than we ever have before, and we're going to be covering the top 10 things, starting with location. And
before we dive into location, you guys probably noticed our video does look a little bit different today. Being a dad and all, what I decided to do was, take video of my daughter when she was trying to touch the bottom of a pool. And so I had the GoPro, and I was sitting there going to the bottom of the pool, like checking it out and stuff. Didn't realize that the cap that I had on there was not waterproof.
Oh, come on!
And so our GoPro was out of commission. It just happened a couple of hours ago. I didn't have time to get another camera. So this is a phone one. Let us know whether or not this video quality is good enough. But otherwise, we're going to do what we can with what we've got.
Yes, let's start with location of Aurora. Aurora is, and actually has been, a pretty large city, but it is on the east side of Denver. In fact, a lot of the western side of Aurora touches right into Denver, almost to the point where you cannot tell the difference between when Denver crosses over into Aurora.
Aurora is the third largest city in Colorado, and so pretty much you got Denver, which is number 1, Colorado Springs, which is number 2, and then you got Aurora, which is number 3, and it's linked right next to Denver, so that's a good reason as to why it would be the second. It's pretty much you have all the people that are in Denver overflowing into Aurora.
Yeah, so that takes us into the second thing that you need to know, and that's going to be size and population, which I have to tell you, being natives and growing up, being in Colorado our whole lives, Aurora has blown up, especially on the east side. In fact, Aurora actually covers 154 square miles, so it is huge, and it actually is really linear, kind of, don't you think?
And so it goes all the way up as far north as like a little bit past I-70 and goes all the way down to touching like Castle Rock, Parker area. And so when we're talking about the population, we're talking about almost 395,000 people. That still doesn't come anywhere near Denver. It is still a large city though in regards to the largest cities in Colorado. Outside of living in Colorado though, I will tell you that Aurora got that thing about the whole, the theater shooting. That's how Aurora kind of blew up outside of the Colorado area. We're going to dive a little bit more into that later on in this video, so make sure that you stick around.
The third thing is, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, and that is the proximity to Denver. And the reason we want to talk about this so much is because a lot of people are working in Denver, they want to play in Denver, but they don't want to live in Denver. And so Aurora ends up being one of those cities and suburbs that takes away from some of that kind of Denver crowdedness and just when people are moving into the state. Another reason people choose this city, because the proximity of Denver, is also going to be the proximity to the airport, because it's going to be closer than, say, Denver.
Yeah, it will. So like we said, it's on the east side of Denver. So the main highways you're really going to be looking at, if you're going from the north side of Denver, I-70 straight over to, I always get 270 and 225 mixed up. 225 is like that dedicated highway running through Aurora, where we always talk about I-36 is like the dedicated highway that goes over to Boulder. Aurora kind of has its own little highway, and so 225 goes all the way down to the south side, meets back up with I-25, and so whether you go from the south side or the north side, you're not really going straight in the middle. Like 6 kind of goes over, and you got Colfax that kind of goes over in Aurora too, but you don't have those direct highways like you would on I-70 and then also 225.
The fourth thing you need to know about Aurora is the fact that it actually is pretty culturally diverse. Now, we have been talking about this a lot because we are helping people from all over the world and all over the United States moving into Colorado, asking about our diversity. It does get a lot of credit for being one of those cities that is more culturally diverse. It also is because it's next to our big, large city, and a lot of our larger cities are more diverse. So this is something that people love when moving from out of the country.
Yeah, guys, so what we do is we base all this information off of World Population Review, where they look at it, and pretty much you got Denver and Aurora, according to World Population Review, are the 2 most diverse cities that you are going to find within the Denver metro. Well, yeah, I guess you could say Denver metro area.
The fifth thing that you need to know about Aurora is the outdoor recreation. And this one is kind of funny because we talk all the time when you're moving into Colorado about the west side of Colorado being close to the mountains with all the outdoor rec. However, Aurora does have a lot of outdoor things, especially because it does have the big Aurora Reservoir, which one of the only times that we've been there is actually when we were doing yoga on paddleboards. So
I've never done paddleboard yoga. I think there's one time in Mexico, when all the entertainment people try and get you out and do stuff, and I tried doing it there, but it was different for sure. Sitting there trying to do all this stuff on a paddleboard yoga, and I definitely didn't do. I was like, I obviously need to strengthen my core because I thought I was a badass when it comes to paddleboarding, and then I started doing this. And I'm like,
what is he doing?
I don't really know that pose.
I was pretty much the wettest person on the trip.
I'm pretty sure you've never done yoga until that.
Yeah,
also.
probably not. Well, like I said, it's probably another one of those Mexico vacation trips where they're like, all right, get off your fat butt and just get up and do something. And you're like, okay, here I go.
But yeah, we did paddleboard yoga there. Yeah. It was actually really pretty. Sometimes with inner city lakes, you worry on whether or not it's going to be clean versus like our mountain lakes that obviously are just stunning. However, Aurora actually was really nice and it wasn't overly crowded, which I really liked. I don't know with all the growth if that's still the case.
Yeah, that was a few years back, so I'm thinking about it. It might be a lot busier now, but it was nice. It does seem like it's one of the least crowded reservoirs. Like if you go down to Chatfield's crazy busy, Cherry Creek's crazy busy, and so it does seem like it's one of the least packed ones. And so if that's something you want to go out and check it out and be like, you know what, I want to go somewhere where there's not too many people. I do want to try that paddleboard yoga without like a jet ski coming over and ripping you off or something like that. Aurora Reservoir might be one of the spots that you want to visit.
Yeah, so if you're not into paddleboarding, they do boating, they do fishing, it's big enough lake that you do have all the recreational activities.
Yep. Yeah, Aurora has 6,000 acres of open space and recreational space, pretty much. So you're talking about your parks, open space, trails, all that stuff. 6,000 acres worth. So that's amazing that they do dedicate that much space to all these different outdoor activities, being so far from the mountains.
All right, before we get to the sixth thing that you need to know, we are at the halfway mark, so thanks for sticking around this long. And if you're liking this content, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and the notification bell so that you get notified every single time we put out a new video.
And guys, of course, if you are looking at purchasing real estate, I will repeat again, purchasing real estate. We've had a little bit of confusion. I think we're like tour guides or something like that, but we help you out with all your real estate needs. Give us a call or text the phone number right below. Right below right there, we help you out and answer those calls. Doesn't matter day or time. The sixth thing that we're going to be covering is the education over in Aurora, and the biggest one that comes to mind for me is the Anschutz Medical Center over there. Pretty much you have Colorado University Hospital over there. My sister, actually, I think my sister's a nurse down. I know she's down in Anschutz. I'm not sure if it's that one or what, because the VA is also down there, and so, I'm a vet, and I'd always go down to the VA hospital. Super awesome campus, but they also, at the same time, they have some great education over there in regards to the medical field.
The other really cool thing about Aurora is the access to all the different school systems. Now, this isn't like one city where you have one school system and this, we're going to niche.com and we tell you what it is. It had 4, guys. I looked up 4 for you. I couldn't remember them all, so I had to write them all down because depending on where you are in Aurora, you're going to fall into maybe some different school districts, or you might have some choices, which a lot of people really like, that they'll have different choices, even being within one city. So on the southwest side, we're going to talk about Cherry Creek, which let me tell you, has a reputation, and it's on purpose. Niche.com grades it as an A. A lot of people moving into Colorado are typically drawn to that school district because of all the different rankings.
Yeah, there's like 3 school districts every time that we talk to you guys over a Zoom call or even a phone call that you're asking us about. Cherry Creek is one of those. It's usually what it's Cherry Creek, Boulder, and Douglas. I think are the 3 main school districts you guys are always asking about, and one of those is in Aurora.
Because you talked about Douglas, it does actually have access to Douglas County, and it is rated.
Look at that. It's like I almost knew what she was going to say.
It's rated an A-. So again, also one of those school districts that you guys are most interested in. And then we have Denver Public Schools, which is rated a B, so that's not bad. The Aurora Joint School District number 28 is a C+. One thing I have to say about that, though, anytime that you're looking at a large city like Aurora and you're looking at their public school system, typically through the city, and it's usually associated, I want you to do me a favor when you're going to niche.com. Click on the school district, then go to the map button, and when you do that, it will pull up all the different schools within the school district. Because Aurora is so big, a lot of some of the other schools that may or may not be graded A or B could potentially pull down the rating because of how many school options you have. Yep. So if you look at that, it'll show you kind of the pockets of different schools and how they're rated. That's really important when you're looking at housing.
The 7th thing that you might want to know about Aurora is that they have Buckley Air Force Base out there, which I'm actually super familiar with. When I was in the National Guard here in Colorado, we were stationed out of Buckley Air Force Base because I was aviation, and so I always went out there. You always saw the big, huge white balls, which are like encasements for satellites. Super cool little base, but we have heard many times from people who say, you know what, the jets flying over and everything is kind of a nuisance. Also, with the Buckley Air Force Base being there, expect there to be a large military presence pretty much surrounding Buckley Air Force Base, and that's why you see a lot of this. So if you go like east of Buckley Air Force Base, you see a lot of newer developments. A lot of that was driven by Buckley Air Force Base, and all those pretty much, it's mainly Air Force, so most of those Air Force pretty much going off base, having those accommodations for soldiers who did not, or actually, I think they're called airmen. Like I said, I was in the Army, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're called airmen who are stationed off. I actually have a couple clients over there who were in the Air Force, sell their properties in the area, and so they're like, yeah, this is great because we could just drive straight over to Buckley Air Force Base, but not have to stay in the accommodations they have on base. We could just stay off base, and that's why I see in a lot of these newer developments outside of it.
Yeah, the funny thing is I actually have experience with Buckley Air Force Base as well. Aurora has a large medical presence, but also a lot of us nurses will serve on base. And so I was actually a nurse on base for quite some time with private nursing. Yeah. It is really nice to be able to have that military presence around there, and we see a lot of younger families and things that'll travel in, but also who are stationed there. So it was really cool. It's funny that we both were going there. He's Army, but he was there. I'm a nurse. I was there. But it's just something that Aurora is known for.
You always got checked, didn't you? Like the randos, gosh, they always do the randoms where they got like the mirror that they look into the car and stuff. Every time she's like, they checked me again. So I don't know. Does she look a little conspicuous to you? Like if you drove up to a gate and you had a security check? I don't know. She looks.
Well, I was also in scrubs. They were like, what are you doing here? Now, if you've stuck around this long, you're probably interested in why Aurora got all this hype for the Aurora shooting. So this 12th thing that we want to talk about is that shooting in 2012. It was actually got kind of nationwide recognition in Aurora for this shooting. Now, guys, that is not what Aurora is necessarily known for here, but because Aurora wasn't talked about a lot and it was always Denver, 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 this was a kind of a bad rep Aurora got. Yep. Aurora has changed so much since 2012. There has been so much new development, so many people moving into this area that we do see Aurora changing so much. Back in the day, Aurora did have a little bit more crime than typical, or because it was close to our inner city, which is where all of the crime typically will happen. So if you want to know more about that, go to World Population Review. You can scroll down to any of the crime things. There's City-tistics, I think, also runs some crime stuff. Again, one of the things that I want you to look at is if you can look at proximity, because a lot of it has to do with our inner city and how close it is to Denver.
I'm surprised that she got City-tistics on the first say. Maybe we're practicing the mirror a little bit, like City-tistics.
Well, actually, I said it now.
Pronunciation.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. Another thing I want to throw in there, it's so unfortunate. Like, there's a few cities in Colorado who got nationwide attention for these bad circumstances. So, you had Windsor with a huge tornado. You had
the one tornado.
What was it, Firestone or Frederick, where they had that huge family incident that happened. You had the Aurora shooting. Carl Springs got the bad rap now because of the shooting down there.
Well, and then the fire in Superior.
The fire in Superior, the Marshall Fire.
Yeah.
It sucks that there's all these different cities. It's like, I'm staying away from there. It's like, don't base it strictly off just what the nightly news is telling you guys. Like, there are some great areas in Colorado. You just got to hone in and take advantage of all the good things they have to offer.
I'm so glad you said that, because Superior makes me so sad, and Lafayette, because of that fire, which was just kind of a freak accident. Like, we never have fires in Lafayette and Superior. So Louisville, thank you. Louisville and Superior. So it was just, I'm glad you said that, because it is something that, looking from the outside, that's all you see. Yeah. But being here, those things are not things that happen all the time.
Yep.
The 9th thing that we're going to cover is economic opportunities. And this, because Aurora is our 3rd largest city, we do have a lot of opportunities, including healthcare, technology, aerospace and defense, and a few other different industries. But Peter did look up the top best?
Yeah, it was the top 3 companies, or I think largest or best companies to work at in Aurora. First one was being Advanced Circuits. Second was Children's Hospital. I think they have 2 locations. Main one obviously being over in Anschutz, which actually I think my cousin's a doctor. My family, we have a lot of medical field within my family, and then also Chelsea as well too. So we have a few people who are, it's like, hey, call this person or call that person for this question, or hey, is this growing in the right way? And then the third one is Aurora Public Schools, which I don't like covering this because I feel like every single city that we cover, it's either the public schools in the city or the government. And I'm like, okay, not everyone's going to be taking one of those jobs. Let's look at people who are pretty much moving into Colorado, maybe getting relocated. What do they could potentially look for in technology, healthcare, all these different things. But Aurora Public Schools, or where we at? What is it? The third?
So the third best.
Yep.
The reason that he brings up that he doesn't like to do this is because he's like, it's always the public schools and it's always this. But then he looked up the 3 top employers. He looked up the 3 best to work for. He looked up the largest. And Aurora Public Schools still made the cut. So we're like, you got to talk about Aurora Public Schools.
That's true.
But yes, it was the 3rd best according to Zippia.com.
Yep.
If these 9 things have been intriguing you and you're like, is Aurora for me? I think the 10th is the most important. That is, what does it look like for me to buy? So let's talk about real estate.
Yeah, so we're going to break into the real estate. First things first is obviously overall. So we're talking about your single family and your attached product linked into one sum. And you're looking at a median sales price as of July 2023 of $513,000. Now, what do we look like if we're looking over at just your single family products? You're looking at a median sales price of $552,000. Break that down into your attached products. So we're talking about your condos, townhouses, and row homes. You got a median sales price of $306, much less than your single family products over in Aurora, Colorado.
Now, I just did a search with one of you. We went all around Aurora looking at different home prices for what you can get. Let me tell you a little bit of a summary of what I've recently found. A lot you can actually get below 500 if you're looking closer to kind of that Denver city. That's going to be a little bit more central in Aurora. It's going to then start climbing as we get into the newer areas, say out east, closer to...
Kind of what we were talking about with the Buckley Air Force Base, outlining that whole 470 area.
Yeah, and then as you go down south and you start getting closer to that Cherry Creek school system, because we start seeing a lot of custom builds right there, and that's also where you're going to see Talon's Reach and all of that. So we do start to see that start to climb up, and you can get pretty up there, close to 900,000. So
Aurora Highlands for sure. Your prices will bump up there quite a bit.
Yeah, so it is exciting to know that because Aurora is so big, it can serve a lot of people depending on what price point you want, as well as what type of home you're looking for.
I don't know if you're having the problem with this, but the iPhone's got like 3 different cameras on it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out which one to look at you guys. I'm like, is it here? Is it here? Is it here?
Yeah, I was like, left, right, down.
I was like, I don't know which one's the camera. Which one is it?
Okay, anyways, we've covered 10 things about Aurora, Colorado. We tried to make sure that we gave you kind of an overall, but if any of these topics you want us to dive into, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell. And also comment down below if you have questions about any of these topics that we can help you see if Aurora is for you.
And of course, if you are looking at purchasing real estate here in the state of Colorado, give us a call or text the phone number right below. Right below, right there, we answer. It doesn't matter day or time.
And if you made it to the end and you have curly hair, please comment down below how to take care of this curly hair. Please, I need you.
All right, until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye. And is that me? What time?
My dumb. Should I say my dumbass?
No.
Wait. What?
It took everything. You said activities.
Going off base and having
accommodations. The 9th thing we're going to cover is okay. We tried to pick the most. Okay. 10 things from Colorado. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the oh lordy.